forward. From the docket of February 7th, 2023, I entertain a motion to approve a lease agreement executed by and between the City of Attleboro and Crown Castle, a
I'm going to
Delaware
be starting
statutory...
my committee meeting. Oh, what? Oh, you started? I didn't even hear you. Couldn't even hear you.
Delaware statutory trust and subsidiary of T-Mobile for rental site located on O'Donnell Drive for the purpose of wireless communication devices as described herein.
Second.
Thank you. So this is, we did receive the backup communication for the lease, and it would be $30,000 a year we would receive for them to rent this location. It doesn't seems kind of positive for the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions or comments?
Nope, makes sense.
Hearing none, I call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. That's all for this evening. I'll call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:31. Thank you.
Sorry for the time. I was going to say the time.
Are you having another one?
That's it for that. And then I have zoning and land use later. But then you're on, right?
You're not doing a committee for zoning?
I am, but he had it listed that IT, and then he said public, and then me.
Okay.
So it's whatever.
All right, I just have one. So you want me to go?
Sure.
I'd like to call Public Works to order at 6:31. I just have one motion this evening from the docket of December 20th, 2022. I entertain a motion to approve the following loan order for a new front-end loader for the water department. Ordered that $355,000 be appropriated for the cost of purchasing and equipping a front-end loader. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $355,000 under Section 7(1) of Chapter 44 of the General Laws or any other enabling authority, and that the mayor is authorized to take any other action necessary to carry out this project.
Second.
Thank you. So we've discussed this. Does anybody have any further questions?
Just a comment, Laura. I did some soul searching on my own, some research, both about the finance and the need for it. And like some equipment that I owned at the garage, you don't use it that often, but when you need it, you gotta have it. And that happens to be one of these pieces of equipment, so
Yeah. It's
I'm
an
in
important
favor
piece.
of it.
Good, great. I'm glad you got the info you needed.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? Anybody
No,
else?
I'm all good.
Outside the committee? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And I'd like to call for an adjournment at 6:33. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I did, but I can try to this week. Yeah, this week we can Friday and Friday.
Are you going in the office, Laura?
Yeah. What do you need?
Glass of water, if you would,
Okay.
a cup of water. Save me a trip.
I entertain a motion to accept this easement as shown on plan entitled Easement Plan 317 Bishop Street, Assessors Map 121, Lot 23, Lot 1, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated October 26, 2022, prepared by Brian J. Murphy, PLS, to maintain a rounding curve at the intersection of Bishop Street and Pike Ave.
Second.
Thank you. We did receive backup information on this. Any other questions?
Today, and I'm up there.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, entertain a motion to accept this easement as shown on plan entitled Easement of Plan for Land for the City of Attleboro, Reed Street, Attleboro, Mass. 536 Reed Street, Assessors Map 76, Lot 474C, dated October 3rd, 2022, prepared by E. Otis Dryer, RPLS, for construction and public use of sidewalk on the property of Henry and Sharon Perry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, therefore the mayor hereby, this is a little bit, okay, sorry about that, give me a second here. I entertain a motion to appropriate $5,000 from account 100035900 undesignated fund balance, free cash general fund, free cash general government to fund 3563581025 Reed Street sidewalk, taking easement.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor Bennett, thank you for joining us too. So you're here as well. So this, I don't know if everybody received the email, that communication that was going around for this, but really wanted to see what the policy was that the city has for when this happens. It's been a little bit murky in the sense that when May Street happened, kind of what happened with those residents when they created the sidewalk versus what kind of happened for this family receiving $5,000. So I would just say that for the next administration, it would be important to kind of have some sort of policy that is just followed across the board instead of, and I know it's case by case at times, but it just seemed a little bit vague in the sense of how we determine how we go about this. Any other comments or questions? Councilor Blair?
Maybe a little clarification, but to my understanding, this one was sort of unique because taking that piece of land, if we took it, that would give them a substandard lot. The square footage wouldn't have met the lot size. So it could affect their value if they went to sell it. So I think, like you said, case by case in a lot of situations.
Any other comments from the committee or the council? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Motion, opposed? Motion passes. Okay, I'll call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 6:37.
Thank you.
Did you got my message?
Order. Please all stand and join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Those are the people.
Yeah, I figured that.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded, and if you have cell phones, please silence your cell phones. All right. And Councilor Dolan, do you mind grabbing the planning board while we?
I did. It looks
Okay.
like they're having a presentation.
Excuse me.
Do you wanna go out of order, or?
No.
Public hearings first.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, if you can mention it, and we'll read the. So the first public hearing is a joint public hearing, so we'll get the planning board.
to go first.
Yep.
They have to go first. Came in at one point, but then they went back.
Yep, they come.
Okay, perfect. Just be 1 second. Good evening, welcome. Madam Clerk, would you mind reading the first public hearing notice?
Certainly. Public hearing. A joint public hearing with the planning board to discuss amending the zoning ordinance 17 zoning to allow for accessory dwelling units on qualified residential properties.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council, members of the planning board. My name is Joseph Capnegro, and I reside at 903 Pike Avenue. I'm here to speak in favor of the new ordinance. It's just a little history, and I'm speaking in favor because I'm glad it's being what I would refer to as being codified. But just to go back on a little history of it, back in the 70s when I first got into business, in-law apartments in Attleboro were allowed, and you could have a separate electric meter, you could have separate locked doors, there was no access. However, through the years, they've found that it was getting abused, which I imagine everybody is aware of, when a member of the family that was an in-law, or even somebody that, purposely at the beginning decided to rent it out, it became a two-family and a single-family zone. And I know specifically of a couple instances on homes that the family business had built that this happened. But again, it was allowed at the time. Then when it became a problem, it was discontinued to have what they call a true in-law apartment. However, what evolved out of that is what I'm going to refer to as an auxiliary dwelling section of a house. And we were allowed, and we are still allowed to this day, to build a addition or a house with an auxiliary area built into it. What changed from the original in-law apartment setup was three things. First, we couldn't use two electrical meters, which is part of the new proposal, that it'd only be one electrical meter. And second, it isn't a change, but one thing that's in the new proposal that I would say I don't agree with is that the oil and the gas have to be the same. Specifically because if you have an elderly, as far as in-laws, they may want the heat, different than a young family. That, along just with the building aspects of the efficiencies that we have to build by today, not always does oil meet these efficiencies. And so I don't think that really makes a big difference as far as an in-law versus somebody that's trying to convert it to a two-family. Yes, the individual electric meter definitely should be just one meter for both units. The third and the fourth thing, though, and I'd like to pass out these, sketches that I've made up that would further explain this, and there's a dozen here. And should I hand them out individually?
If you pass them to Council
Thank you.
Simone, pass them.
I've got those copies. When the in-laws of the 70s were, were disallowed, by design, we were allowed to build auxiliary units, which I think is the purpose of this in-law proposal you have before you. There was two parts of the building department's interpretation allowing these auxiliary units that aren't part of your proposal, and I think should be to serve the purpose, the true purpose. The first being that there should be, the in-law section should either be attached to the dwelling or have a common area between the single-family dwelling and the in-law or auxiliary area. In this area, it would be shown both in A, B, and C on my sketches here, and you'll have to excuse the sketch. I didn't draft it, but in the case of A, the in-law apartment would be attached to, as directly to the dwelling with a cased opening, not a door, a cased opening, and I'll explain that in a couple of seconds too. And this can have your two living areas, being attached, and with your bedroom areas on either side. So the bedroom areas are separated. That isn't too common, though, just because of the noise aspect. But this is, again, going back to design. But B would have a common area between the two units. This, and I built in-law apartments like this, that it's a mudroom or it's a breezeway, but this common area, both in B and C, has to be a heated area. This was the building department's interpretation of allowing these auxiliary units that is current, because there's nothing, and I say auxiliary because there's nothing in the building code nor the city charter nor any city's charter that says you can't have 2 kitchens, 2 living rooms, 4 bathrooms and whatnot. So, and then in C, this is when, and I've designed also in-law apartments over a garage. And what to do there to have the common area that is also heated is that you'd see the main entrance of the garage on the bottom, and then you walk in to a series of steps that would go up to a platform. That platform would have a door. And I should have extended that platform by code now. That platform would have a door that would go into what we would call the common area also. This common area would have an access to the main house on the left, but not a door. Again, a cased opening. And you would go up the stairs, being heated also, again, to a cased opening, not a door. And the reason why we say not a door is because if you put a door on there, then it's can be locked. And that's when you get into what would be the old 2-family or a second unit of those, because not having doors, it being two-family or a family unit that's living there, they have free access to go back and forth. Not always does this happen. A lot of the designs I've done and others have done is, especially in Unit B, that there's a 3 or 4 foot hallway that goes off this common area into the individual living area. So I urge that that the planning board and the council consider these not changes, but incorporate them into this new in-law thing, that there has to be, if it isn't attached directly to the house, that there has to be a heated common area. This allows people just to go back and forth as any normal family would do, and it eliminates the need of doorways to keep the heat in. That's why it's heated. And that you don't allow, as far as the doorways between the two living areas, or the auxiliary living area and the single-family house. The other thing I'd like to address is, and that comes into, in section 13, I'm sorry, in section 11, it reads, of the new proposal, an in-law apartment shall provide a building code compliant means of egress through the principal dwelling residence. I don't think it has to be through the principal dwelling residence, because especially there's more of a chance of a fire between, as far as the two areas. But if you have a common area, as in B or C, that is a means of egress that is common to both units. And so instead of wording it means of egress through the principal dwelling unit, I think it should read something like in common with the principal dwelling unit. This would allow a common area, as in B and C, that both the auxiliary, or what you'd like to call the in-law, connects it through, or the single family can. Or in A, yes, it would be through the unit, but again, it's in common. So I think this would allow these three designs to be properly used, and it would safeguard the city against the secondary unit or the auxiliary dwelling area being used as a second unit by putting doors that can be locked and such. So that's just a little history of what's been allowed, and I think those changes would be in the best interest of the city to be included as far as in the in-law. And I will just mention too, I do, as far as like the section of the new that says that the permits are good for 3 years, because this would require an inspection every 3 years, and if doors are put in place, or if areas are sealed off improperly, it would become a violation. Yep, that's all I have to say on it.
Are there any questions for Mr. Cappany? Hearing none.
I'll just close if the committee would like to see blueprints of an actual, done. This sketch was done just to show you that the three options. But I would be happy to find some of my blueprints and bring them into the committee meeting so you can see how it really looks as far as how the whole layout looks.
Joe, is that something you could email? Is that possible?
No, I still hand draw, and I have the old blueprint machine, so I can't email them.
Any other
But
questions?
I can drop them off if you can scan them. I can drop them off to the city clerk and
Sure, we can find a way. Sure. if you
or
would
to
like
the
drop them
job
off. Yes.
secretary.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Mr. Capnegro, it's great to see you, and your institutional knowledge is incredibly valuable, so thank you.
Just many years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Joe.
Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? All right. Hearing none. Chairperson Benet, do you see any reason to keep this open?
I do not know.
Okay, and Councilor Holmes, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
All right, I declare the public hearing is closed, and thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, will you read the next public hearing?
Certainly. Public hearing to discuss Section 12 of the revised ordinances be amended by adding a new section, 12-6, inclusive parks and playgrounds.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor?
Hi, good evening, members of the council. My name is Laura Abrams. I live at 35 Cumberland Street, Attleboro. I'm here to speak in favor of this ordinance. I think it's really important that we look to the future and that we have this amendment into our city ordinances as a starting point for creating inclusive playgrounds, because when it's inclusive and accessible, it is inclusive for everybody, not just the children who need it most. So not just children who are either on the spectrum or disabled in some way. It's inclusive for everybody, and it makes it also inclusive and easier for families as well. So.
Perfect. Does anyone have any questions for Laura? All right. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Mr. Corsi?
Hello, everyone. Derek Corsi, Park and Forestry Superintendent. Here to speak in favor. It has the full support of the Park Department. Over the past few years, we've tried to develop some more items in our playgrounds that were more inclusive. Obviously, there's a lot more that we can do. And, you know, with some participation from the community and with delving deeper into this, you know, we would like to continue that process in the coming years.
Are there any questions for Mr. Corsi? So, Councilor Bennett and then Councilor Blair.
Derek, thanks so much for coming down. Just a question, could you maybe talk about some of the recent developments? And I've noticed, I think at Capron, that there's been some additions there, but I may not be aware of other types of accessible play structures that we've put in as a city up until now.
Yeah, so the main accessible structure we developed, we actually partnered with the South Attleboro Lions, and we have a wheelchair swing in Capron Park. We also have a handicap accessible child swing. It's a little different than the standard, you know, bucket swings, I call them. In addition to that, we had a few concerns about the fence surrounding that park, so we had an additional railing. I'm working on getting a gate installed just to prevent kids from kind of running out into the road. So those are the first two things we've done. It's nothing, you know, spectacular, but it is a start, and we'd like to build off of that.
Awesome. It sounds like we've gotten a start on this, and the city's already thinking about this. And so I'm happy to hear that you're in support and that you'll support any initiatives going forward to make these playgrounds more inclusive.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilor Blair?
Derek, you work pretty closely with the rec department also, don't you?
Yes.
On typical things like this.
Yeah.
You have great cooperation between the two departments, I understand.
Yep.
You help each other, which that's what we should do. And I want to thank you for your cooperation.
Oh, yeah.
Because
It's a job, right?
yeah, but it doesn't always happen that way, Derek, and you make it happen. So
I appreciate that.
I wanted to thank you publicly for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Councilor Dolan?
Thank you. So, and yes, we met with Dennis Walsh and Gary Arazian and Derek, and everybody's on board to do, you know, whatever we can. You know, we talked about the fencing. It was like freezing cold out when we met, but we went over the fencing, and I know we talked about the wheelchair picnic tables.
Yeah, so hopefully this spring, if I get the funding, we'll be putting those in.
Yeah, I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah.
And so yes, everybody, every department head that's involved with this is truly on board, and I can't wait till we can get something.
And it takes a lot to develop these types of things. I know when we did the wheelchair swing, we couldn't just set up a swing and call it a day. There was a lot of regulations we had to follow to make sure it's not only safe for the users, but safe for a lot of the park patrons, like making sure a kid can't run across while they're using it, because a lot of these items are lower to the ground. So then you have to, you know, kind of decipher that type of safety aspect, because kids will run wherever they want in these cases. So, you know, everyone has to be protected when we do things like this.
Councilor Holmes and Councilor DeSimone?
Laura was told one more.
That's all right.
You sure?
That's all right.
Okay, thank you. I just really hope that with the Disability Commission, Council Waterman and myself worked on that a long time ago. We really need to partner with them, because there's so many grants through the state where we can, that can help us on this path. And so I just would really encourage them to be involved in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Councilor D. Simone?
Yes, very briefly. Derek, I would reiterate everything Councilor Dolan said about your support, and Dennis's support, and Gary's support, and Jeremy's support. But I want to just, there is a difference here, obviously, between ADA accessibility and inclusivity.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that everybody understands that, and the decisions that we make will be informed by people who have children or loved ones who have autism and other types of different abilities. So
That type of input is
Exactly.
warranted. I don't know the first thing about it. I don't even have kids, so
Exactly.
everyone's input is definitely good for me.
agreed, and I appreciate your willingness and your support of this. Thank you, Doug.
Perfect. Does anyone else have questions? Hearing none, thank you, Derek.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Derek.
Thank you.
Thank you, it's positive.
All right, is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Welcome.
Hi, Lori Sawyer, 136 Curtis Ave. I'm definitely in favor of inclusive parks and playgrounds. And I want to say also, you mentioned about inclusivity, I would hope would mean a lot more than just, your mental abilities but also physical abilities, not just wheelchairs, but, I live by Lee's Pond in South Attleboro, and I love that the pavement was just recently paved, and I think that's great and should be done often because, the things get very bumpy and hard for people to even walk or ride a bike or something. So it's very important that, I think, to do those things as well as, things for disabilities with wheelchairs and things. So I think it's very important. I like the work that's being done, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Lauren.
Any questions for Lori? Thank you, Lori. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? All right, is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? Hearing none, and this is in Public Works. Councilor Dolan, do you see any reason to keep this open?
I do not.
All right, I declare this public hearing closed. Madam Clerk, will you read the notice for the next public hearing?
Certainly. Public hearing regarding the following loan order to purchase a fire department ambulance. Ordered that $475,000 be appropriated for the cost of purchasing and equipping an ambulance. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $475,000 under Section 7(1) of Chapter 44 of the General Laws or any other enabling authority, and that the mayor is authorized to take any other action necessary to carry out this project.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this measure? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here that would like to speak neither for nor against? Councilor Blair, do you see any reason to?
No, can I say a few words first?
In committee.
Okay.
Do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
No, I don't.
Okay, I declare this public hearing closed. Madam Clerk, will you read the next public hearing notice?
Of course. Public hearing regarding the annual fee permit issued for underground propane storage to residents as part of Ordinance 6-5 Fire Prevention Fee Schedule for non-permit services.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor?
I'm Mike Charlebois from 29 Chickadee Way, and about 3 years ago, we built a house on Chickadee Way, and part of the building of the house was a line item for about 12% of the cost of the house for permits and inspections. So when I questioned our contractor, he says that's something that you want to pay, because besides them helping you make sure your house is built right, it also helps me with the subcontractors. So that was a service we didn't mind paying for. And, you know, the propane, installing the propane was probably one of the most important pieces of that, okay? So we don't mind paying taxes and excise and all that. But then, the second year into it, we started to get a bill for $50 for a propane tank. And when we questioned it, it was for an inspection. Well, do you come out and provide that service for us? And the answer was no. So then we found out only about a half of the communities in the state use this law that was put in back in the 2014 timeframe. So, you know, we feel that for no service, we shouldn't be paying for this. And I like to come in here to pay our quarterly real estate tax, which when I was coming in here, you were swearing in your new mayor, and when I go to pay that $50 bill, I have to go to South Attleboro Fire Station, and all they do is take out a log, a piece of paper, they write your name down and your address. When I asked her, does that get checked off or do anything? She didn't know. So that's my viewpoint, and, you know, that's my feeling. We want to make sure we get a service for what we pay for.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions for Mike? Councilor Blair.
Mr. Shalbush, if I understand you correctly, since you've been in that house, you haven't seen a fireman down there to inspect that?
No.
Correct?
And they say no, they don't do that.
And we have some other departments, we actually go out and do an inspection, and there's an inspection fee. I personally think you've been wrong. I don't think this is something that we should be doing, is charging for a service we don't perform. So I'm glad you brought it to the attention of this council. To be honest with you, when those regulations, those fees were put through, I don't think any of us realized that that was the case with that particular one. So I want to thank you for bringing it forward, and hopefully we can rectify that. As taxpayers and citizens of Attleboro, pay for what you get.
Right.
Like you say, you don't mind paying. But,
Right, and if there was an inspection, that's fine.
yeah, but nobody's been out to your home.
No,
That's the
they explained to us there isn't any.
Okay.
Does anyone else have clarifying questions? Councilor Holmes.
Thank you for coming. I think you were the one that brought this to our attention. Are you?
Well, actually, it's our neighbors.
Oh, okay.
We both talked, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Well, I think we're addressing it, and hopefully it will be in committee, and thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Does anyone else have comments? All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor?
Hi, I'm Deborah Blackburn. I live at 36 Chickadee Way. And yes, we did try to bring this to the attention. I hope something gets done with it. Honestly, when I called the fire department, and I won't say who I talked to, so I won't incriminate them, he was honest enough to tell me, or maybe it was a girl, so we'll just leave it at that, that nothing is done for it, that it's a matter of just adding it to a list, and that this person also said they don't even see the money in the fire department, it goes somewhere else, so they're not benefiting at all by keeping the list. So we're basically paying $50 for a name on a list, and if you move, obviously the next person coming in would have to have it inspected because now it's a new ownership. So with that I can understand, moving and just coming in, you'd want it looked at possibly, but just to name on a list every year, it doesn't make any sense. And just in comparison to that is I have a friend in Foxborough, and she has a small farm, and she pays $10 for her small farm permit. And for that $10, the the control officer comes to her house, the animal control officer, inspects her barn, looks over her horses, checks the integrity of her fences, and pretty much says, good, you can keep your farm for $10, which I'm sure that would be a whole lot more in other towns possibly, but I thought that was pretty nice. And she said, you don't get anything for that? I said, absolutely nothing. They send us a piece of paper. So that's just the point I wanted to make, and I thank you. I hope they'll take it under consideration to cancel that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this? Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Steve Scarpetti. I'm in the same neighborhood as all of them, Cooper Way over there. And same thing. They brought it to our attention. I had no idea that this was something that really wasn't going towards anything. And I did some research too. I couldn't even find anything on websites saying that there was a penalty if he didn't pay it. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So if we can get rid of it, that'd be great. If there could be something that we get out of it, if we did it, that'd be great too. So that's my piece. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Just your address, sir?
Oh, address.
14 Cardinal Way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor? All right. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Is there anyone who would like to speak neither for nor against? Councilor Blair, do you see any reason to keep this open?
Absolutely not, sir.
All right, I declare this public hearing closed.
Thank you.
All right, and that's the last public hearing? So I understand motion to go into committee of the whole.
Second.
Motion's in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are now in committee of the whole. Is there anyone who would like to address the council with any matters before the city? Ms. Barbosa?
No.
Received a message from Ms. Barbosa, TDI fellow for Mass Development, and go ahead.
I'm Tracy Silva Barbosa. I am the Attleboro TDI fellow from Mass Development. Mass Development is a quasi-state finance agency and land bank that has been investing in manufacturing and real estate for almost 20 years now. TDI, Transformative Development Initiative, is a new initiative under their real estate branch to grow gateway city neighborhoods. It's quite intimidating standing here in front of this curved desk. So I'm just going to read this brief little explanation of what TDI is so I can kind of... TDI works to concentrate economic development activities, resources, and investments within designated neighborhood areas known as TDI districts to create a critical mass of activity that inspires investments by local residents, entrepreneurs, and businesses, as well as additional private development. TDI districts are mixed use with a commercial component, compact with a 5-minute walking radius or less, and are defined by a walkable, dense physical environment. Your downtown is now a TDI district for the next 3 years, in which I am installed as your fellow, and my job is to connect all those wonderful people and assets downtown through the partnership. We meet every other week on Wednesday mornings, tomorrow being my early morning. And we kind of have a work plan where we talk about what Attleboro wants for itself downtown. And there are people sitting in the partnership that are on the YMCA, there are small business owners, there are financial agents, there are landowners and building owners, and we're always looking to add to the partnership. So through the partnership for the next 3 years, Mass Development is dedicating a lot of money to grants and other investments in the TDI district. 2 examples of that right now is a $100,000 TDI local grant that came down, and we're dispersing it in 2 separate grants, one for public space activation downtown. events, bringing people downtown, activating the business owners that are in the surrounding area, much like your February winter night that I'm excited to be part of. And we also have a TDI equity grant that starts at $25,000 and goes to $250,000, and also $500,000 for certain special projects, and that's for capital investment in the TDI district, stressing on ground floor activation. So these are just some examples of what's coming through mass development for the next 3 years, and I'm happy to receive any questions or comments.
Councilor DeSimone, Councilor Angela.
Yeah, first of all, Tracy, welcome. Thank you for coming here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The meetings, your meetings, are those public meetings?
The partnership meeting is not open to the public, but you are certainly invited to attend.
And you said they are monthly?
They're bi-weekly,
Bi-weekly,
on
okay.
Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. And if you would like to attend one, you can contact me personally and I can put you on the agenda if you want to speak, or if you just want to be a fly on the wall and see what's happening, you are more than welcome to do so.
Thank you.
Councilor Angela.
Thank you, President Kovas. So what would be like an example of how you would attract some of these businesses that you would be talking about, looking for, trying to bring in here?
Well, with Jack Lank, I've created a business association which is free of charge. It's just a group that we're kind of putting together emails and contacts to keep the downtown business owners abreast of what's happening in TDI and what are the grants coming down the line and other things that might be happening around town, or other businesses that can contribute to their own knowledge and their own base. So it really is a joint effort in many ways. I am tasked as a connector. So I'm literally trudging around downtown, walking into businesses and getting to know the owners and, asking them what they need and seeing how we can connect these people. How to attract new businesses downtown is something we're certainly working on, and that's one of the goals of the partnership. And it's to create activation in public spaces, use Cuddy Court, attract people to come. They see the quaintness. There are other programs coming down the line where we could add lighting, festival lighting downtown, just to have a more brightened space that people feel walkable in. So those kinds of things. Walkable environment, safety in the street, outdoor space. Also some training on shop windows and how to properly light your space for small business owners. That's also coming down the line too.
So it's more of making the downtown more attractive.
Definitely.
To bring people in, but not about bringing in new businesses.
It is about bringing in new businesses for the open space that there is for vacant retail space. Yes, that is a priority.
Councilor Waterman, then Councilor Dolan, then Councilor Blair.
Michael got my question.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing. Where does parking come in? Is that part of your discussion?
It's always part of the discussion, right? I can't go a day without parking being part of the discussion downtown.
Right.
I park downtown nearly every day. I'm here to tell you I'm having no problem.
Good.
There's no other city that I can think of that has 2 hours of free parking, sometimes 3. I can always just pull right in. This is my own experience, so I'm kind of baffled at that. But I lived in New York for a long time, so I have a higher standard, I guess. But I never have to parallel park. I'm just, so the parking is a worry. You want more?
Well, you hear people talk about it, yes. But I'm glad your experience is positive. That's great.
Yeah, I'm serious. My experience has been positive, but I think promoting a more walkable downtown in a world where less and less millennials are choosing to have cars, this is an expectation of the future. It's real. So there's an aspect of maintaining our streets in a way that are more friendly to biking and more friendly to walking, and the cars don't have to rule our whole lives. That's where I'm coming from, so.
What's that? Councilor Dolan?
Nice to meet you. I met with our last fellow that was on his way out.
George.
At the time, yes, very nice.
I'm Little George, as we like to say.
And I know, and I think it's great in the sense of that you literally walk around and let our businesses know of any trainings, any grants, and in conjunction with Jack Lank to keep the businesses aware of what's going on, what's available to them when they otherwise might not know. So I appreciate that, and I know, bringing new businesses is also part of what our economic development director does that I assume you are in constant contact with. But I appreciate your work, and I know it's not at the forefront, you're not in the spotlight really getting credit for it, but I know y'all work hard, and this is free to the city, so we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. And it's so fun to get to know the business owners downtown. I've Sun Market, Kumar, that guy, he's the sweetest, and I've been helping him with some city permits. I just really am taking a hands-on approach with the people that are in my district, so I can get a sense of what they need and what they might benefit from with some business training or some design help or internet connection, bringing it up to date into the new millennium, that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had Councilor Holmes and Councilor Bennett.
Thank you. Is Attleboro the only city that you're working with right now?
I am exclusive to Attleboro, but there are 13 TDI districts right now. And you can see those on the mass development. If you just look up mass development TDI, you'll be brought to a page that they show you all the districts and the maps. So there's a map available of what that TDI district is exactly. And I think Todd might have shared it with some of you. So.
Yeah. Councilor Bennett?
Thank you. Could you just explain again, maybe, perhaps I missed it, who makes up the partnership and how is that determined?
Right. As Laura mentioned, George Durante was the fellow before me, and he was essentially the partnership consultant, where he was on the ground and he appealed to different downtown assets and citizens that he felt were movers, were people who cared and who rose up to the top as those who had the capability and wanted to. The partnership currently is about 15 people. Like I was saying, someone from the YMCA, Brian Hodis from Hodis Realty, Peter Bierman from Jiu Jitsu, Catherine Fierick from the Office of Economic Development, and Kaylin Lockyer, Heather Rockwood from the Steampunk Festival, Amy Reilinger from the library, and probably missing, Jack's, Jack's Jack. He's there. So, and he's been wonderful with introducing me to just all sorts of people. He's literally taking me by the hand, like, now you meet this person, now you meet that person. So that's been great for me. So we're trying to build the partnership. We have a cap at 26, I think. So if you're interested, send me an email and we can talk about it. Brian Hodis is our chairperson.
I assume that you'll be hearing a little bit more about the parking, some of the parking challenges in certain areas of downtown in particular, especially with Catherine Fierick sitting in the partnership. She's probably bringing up some of the other initiatives that are happening.
Exactly.
I'm guessing that the times of day you've had luck have been perhaps not the nights and weekends where others maybe struggle.
Right, that's
to
true.
find parking.
That's true. I'm daytime. I'm here usually during the day mostly, but I have come at night and noticed that it can be hopping with the Burgundian and Banditos, which is really exciting. So they're adjacent partners to us. Shane is always in contact with me, and he's been kind enough to offer me the Burgundian for some meet and greets that I've done. So We're all about trying to get the business owners to collaborate in as many ways as possible so they get to know each other, get to know what's happening downtown, so they can perhaps run a special for the downtown event, the winter event that's happening. You know, like just kind of get them aware so it's not such an isolating experience, especially after COVID.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
My expertise in the past is in art and public art. I still have my own studio I've put to the side for a while, but there is also a public art component to TDI that is a wonderful, exciting thing that I come from that place. So I believe that's one of the reasons why the partnership selected me as the fellow. So we love hearing about ideas for adding public art to public spaces. And I've been in contact with Derek Corsi about that for the parks as well. So.
Perfect. Do you have an ask for all of us? Is there anything that we can do to help you? And can you share business cards with all? Do you have business cards on you?
I think I have enough with me.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Does everybody want one?
Please.
Thank you, Tracy.
Give them all to,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
I'm gonna run out.
Oh, no, I have your email.
Yeah, you
That's
have
good.
it.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wait, I'll just take
You
a
take a
picture of it.
picture of
How's
it.
that?
Yeah.
So that
And
way
then
you don't
hands it over.
run out.
So is there anything we can do to help aside from helping to funnel people towards you that we run into on a day-to-day basis?
I'm putting together like some, an update, you know, trying to put together something simple to digest of like what we're doing and what's coming down the line as far as TDI. So I would ask that you write to me to that email address and offer me your support with your email so that I can put you on that list to give you updates so you know what's going on. And that's my only ask right now, is so you know what's happening, and then perhaps you can plan in the future or share it with your peers.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Any other
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I have one more ask.
Oh, go ahead.
The partnership requires a signature by the mayor for a memorandum of agreement that you all are okay with us doing this and we're here working together. So I'm here to just let you know about that and ask if you'll allow him to sign that MOA. If that's...
If you send an email, we can direct that to the mayor, or you can send it directly to the mayor.
Yeah,
and
I
then-
think Catherine's had done that for me, but I
Perfect.
wanted to share it this way, and then Catherine told me the correct way to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
It doesn't work for us, although we wish they.
Yeah, well, you know.
Is there anyone else here that would like to address the council on anything on any city matters? Hearing none, I move to arise from committee of the whole.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are arisen from committee of the whole, and we'll move on to the mayor's communications. Madam Clerk?
February 7th, 2023. Dear municipal councilors, it has come to my attention that the current intermunicipal water agreement between the city of Attleboro and the town of Mansfield expired on May 23rd, 1940. A new agreement has been written and has been approved as to form by City Solicitor Peter Mello. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to approve the intermunicipal agreement by and between the town of Mansfield and the city of Attleboro for municipal water service in certain portions of Mansfield, Massachusetts. Copies in your packets.
Just for clarification, did you say it expired in 1940?
That's why I said it just like that. Yes, sir.
Public Works Committee.
Thank you. I respectfully submit a letter regarding the award of the Attleboro Cultural Council fiscal year 23 allocation from the Massachusetts Cultural Council in the amount of $37,900. Please note that there is no matching requirement in accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro. I hereby request your honorable body to approve expending such funds and any future grant amendments. Copies in your packets.
Personnel Committee?
For your information, I regret to inform your honorable body, we have received the resignation of Director of Budget Administration Jeremy Stull effective February 16th, 2023. Please join me in thanking Mr. Stull for his service to the city.
FYI.
For your information, I would like to inform your honorable body that I have made personnel assistant Beth Fokin acting personnel director effective February 6, 2023. She will fill this acting position for 90 days.
FYI.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the need for funds to cover the cost of filling 4 vacancies due to retirements, promotion, resignations, and lateral transfer. The funding will be needed to train and outfit new police recruits. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $34,856.08 from account 1000-359000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to the following: $14,800 to account 1210100-532012 Police Academy tuition, $4,668.60 to account 1201000-55828 Police Supply, $10,000 to account 1210100-55831 Police Uniforms, and $5,387.48 to account 1210100-53010 Police Medical Consultations. Copies in your packets.
That'll go to public safety.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water Courtney Wunschel regarding the need for funds to continue with the Water Department's ongoing water meter replacement program for fiscal year 2023. To date, 90% of the residential meters in the city have been upgraded through this program. These funds will be used to purchase approximately 300 meters with associated fittings, supplies, equipment, and 1 new set of meter reading equipment. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $112,159.96 from account 6100-359000 Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account 6100-553150 Water Enterprise Fund water meters. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water Courtney Allen regarding the need to replenish funds used in various accounts for emergency work, increased costs in CDL training, well maintenance, and vehicle maintenance. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $65,000 from account 6100-359000 Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account 6100-521-006 Water Enterprise Fund sewer services. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water Courtney Allen regarding the need for funds for the replacement of traveling screens at the West Street plant. The traveling screens in the raw water intake facility at the West Street plant are original to the plant's construction in the mid-1990s. Replacement of these screens has been on the city's capital improvement plan for several years. The function of these screens is to remove weeds and other plant life, branches, fish, and other debris from the source water before the water is pumped into the plant for treatment. The screens are essential in protecting raw water pumps and piping, as well as other equipment along the treatment process. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $100,000 from account 6100-359000 Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to account 6100-582516 Water Enterprise Fund plant improvement. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Park and Forestry Derek Corsi regarding the need for funds due to an increase in price of a Smithco lawn sweeper. As you are aware, on June 17th, 2023, vote number 11, your honorable body voted to transfer $14,325 to purchase a Ferris stand-on leaf blower. The city is able to purchase this equipment for $2,125 less than the original quote. Therefore, these funds will not be needed. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body approve $2,125 to be used towards the increased cost of the Smithco lawn sweeper once the Ferris stand-on leaf blower is purchased. Additionally, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $3,900 from account 1124-100-578380, Citywide Reserve Fund for Capital, to account 1650100-585040, Park Equipment, for the increased cost of the Smithco Lawn Sweeper. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Park and Forestry Derek Corsi regarding the need for funds to purchase fertilizer, lime, and pesticides for the remainder of fiscal year '23. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $8,115.47 from account 1124100-578300, Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer, to account 1650100-546010, Park Supplies Grounds. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from former Personnel Director Owen Bebo regarding the executed memorandum of agreement with the Attleboro Crossing Guards Associations for July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026, to include a 3% COLA beginning July 1st, 2023. I believe that this agreement is in the best interest of the employees and the taxpayers. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body approve the Attleboro Crossing Guards Association MOA for fiscal years 2024 through 2026. Copies in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Park and Forestry Derek Corsi regarding the needs for funds to repair the fuel system on the bucket truck and install an aluminum truck bed on a pickup truck. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $8,000 from account 1650100-511000, Park Salary and Wages, to account 1650100-524230, Park Vehicle Maintenance. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from former Personnel Director Owen Bebo regarding a request to add a Grade 6 Assistant Director of Recreation exempt classification plan. The Recreation Department currently operates without an assistant director. The job description for this new position is attached. This has become problematic as programming has increased significantly. In addition to demands for more services provided by the department, an additional leadership position is needed for the supervision of the department, as well as an interaction with the public to coordinate programs and make management decisions. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body add a Grade 6 Assistant Director of Recreation to the exempt classification plan. Copies in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from former Personnel Director Owen Bebo regarding the need for funds to perform a compensation and classification study. There are currently 85 positions in the exempt group with 17 grades assigned to them. To perform this study, an outside firm would be needed to be brought on board and perform an in-depth analysis of wages, benefits, jobs, duties, etc. They would also compare those findings with other comparable positions in other communities. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $45,000 from account 1000-359000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 1152100-530137 personnel classification study. Copies in your packets.
Special Committee on Classification and Compensation, and that's different than what
Yeah, that's okay. Got
said
it.
earlier.
Gotcha. I respectfully submit a communication from Personnel Director Owen Bebo proposing amendments to the city ordinance. On January 3rd, 2023, your honorable body voted to add the position of Inspector of Buildings and City Facilities Manager to the exempt classification plan. As such, Section 3-1.1, Building in the revised ordinance of the City of Attleboro needs to be amended. City Solicitor Peter Mello reviewed the changes and approved them as to form. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body vote on the following ordinance change in Section 3-1.1, building to insert, in addition, in the mayor's discretion, the mayor may add to the inspector of buildings duties the management of facilities, maintenance, and repair issues for city-owned buildings, in which case the position of inspector of buildings shall be titled the Inspector of Buildings and City Facilities Manager, and classified in the manner and on the terms set forth in the classification plan. Copies in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee, and this, because it's an ordinance change, requires a public hearing. Councilor Angelo, would you like to call for that public hearing on March 7th?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. That public hearing will be on March 3rd.
7th or
Seventh.
3rd?
Excuse me. 7th. 3/7.
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance regarding the need to replenish funds used in order to make an earned time payment to an employee who has retired. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to appropriate $126,519.20 from account 1000-359-000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 1220100-511-000 fire salaries and wages. Copies in your packets.
Public Safety Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance regarding the need to replenish funds used to purchase uniforms for 5 recruit firefighters and 1 civilian dispatcher. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $2,700 from account 1220100-587385 fire retrofit lights to account 1220100-558211 fire Scott Air Pack. Copies in your packets.
Public Safety Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from Fire Chief Scott T. LaChance regarding the receipt of the fiscal year 2023 Student Awareness of Fire Education SAFE Grant and the fiscal year 2023 Senior SAFE Grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the amount of $7,958. The mission of the SAFE program is to provide fire and life safety education within the community, with an emphasis on educating children and seniors about fire and other related dangers. There is no matching requirement for this grant. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments by the Attleboro Fire Department. Copies in your packets.
Public Safety Committee?
Halfway there. I respectfully submit a communication from Economic Development Director Catherine Fierick regarding the receipt of a fiscal year 2022 grant from Mass Development through the Transformative Development Initiative to produce a downtown parking study. The City of Attleboro received a fiscal year 22 grant from Mass Development through the Transformative Development Initiative to produce a downtown parking study. The consultant selected by Mass Development to provide services related to this plan was Stantec. Mass Development was responsible for all contracting and reimbursement related to the consultant team in the amount of $70,000. Stantec has now provided Attleboro with a final version of the 2022 Downtown Attleboro Parking Study. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body accept this generous donation to the City of Attleboro. The acceptance of this plan as a gift of services does not serve as a blanket approval for all strategies contained therein. Copies in your packets.
Traffic and Transportation?
I respectfully submit a communication from Economic Development Director Catherine Fierick regarding the receipt of a state legislative appropriation 1599 to 6090 in the fiscal year 23 Economic Development Bill to perform an industrial development strategy. These funds are being administered through the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development. The language of the earmark is included below. Provided further that not less than $100,000 shall be expended to the City of Attleboro for the Industrial Development Strategy Initiative to identify local workforce strengths, industry clusters, available industrial land, opportunities, and limitations for development, and to recommend approaches to attract emerging industries related to the workforce strengths in the City of Attleboro. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works, Michael Tyler, regarding the need to fund the gasoline fuel account due to an increase in consumption and increased pricing. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $21,932 from account 1000-359-000, undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 1420100-548010 Public Works gasoline fuel. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Public Works Michael Tyler regarding the needs for funds in the diesel fuel account due to increase in consumption, increased pricing. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $62,835 from account 1000-359 000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 14201-000-54811 public works diesel fuel. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief Assessor Julie Hobson regarding the need funds to purchase a 12-month subscription to CoStar beginning March 1st, 2023. This subscription allows the Assessor's Office access to a comprehensive platform of commercial real estate information and analytics across office, industrial, retail, multifamily, hospitality, and land sectors. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $5,160 from account 1141100-530895 Assessors Legal Services to account 1141100-5581110 Assessors Subscriptions. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Budget and Administration Jeremy Stull regarding a request to expend ARPA revenue replacement funds toward the Attleboro-Pawtucket Water Interconnections Project. The city designated half of its American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, local funding as revenue replacement as allowed by the U.S. Treasury. This amounts to $4,778,808.50 that can be used for any lawful municipal purpose with some very specific exceptions. In the interest of expending the timeline on the long lead times associated with the Attleboro-Pawtucket Interconnect project and to keep the associated debt off the water rate, I am requesting authorization to expend $2.5 million of that $4.7 million to fund the anticipated shortfall between current funding and the total project estimate. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body authorize the city to expend $2,500,000 of ARPA revenue replacement funds on costs associated with the Attleboro-Pawtucket Emergency Water Interconnection Project. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee.
We're almost there. I am pleased to announce the receipt of the fiscal year 23 Municipal ADA Improvement Grant through the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Office on Disability, MAUD, on behalf of the Secretary of the Executive Office for Administration and Finance, EOAF, of a maximum amount of $87,000. This grant will bring the city's signage into ADA compliance within City Hall, the library, animal shelter, recycling facility, 4 parking lots and garages, and 7 parks, playgrounds, and open spaces. Monies from this grant must be expended no later than June 30th, 2023. In accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director, Budget and Administration, Jeremy Stull, regarding the allocation from the Bristol County ARPA funds. The City of Attleboro is entitled to $7,925,972.13 of Bristol County's American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funding through their municipal allocation program based upon population. The city's application for $4,305,000 for the Lindsay Street water main replacement has been internally approved by the county and is awaiting a county commissioner's vote on February 7th, 2023. The wastewater department has requested a number of pieces of equipment which are available through the program. The city will apply to the county for these multiple pieces as a single project, and thus only one vote is needed. The pieces of equipment are as follows: include up to 15% contingency, a Vector sewer truck, $595,000, water booster system, $508,000, 2 generators, including installation, $130,000, total $1,233,000. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body accept the $1,233,000 Bristol County ARPA allocation in the form of a grant pursuant to the terms and conditions and the grant agreement for purchase of various ARPA-eligible wastewater equipment to include Vector sewer truck, water booster system, 2 generators, including installation. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee.
On January 11th, 2023, I met with the acting COA director, the city assessor, the budget and admin director, Council Waterman, to increase the amount of the senior tax abatement from $600 to $1,000. The initial thought was to create an ordinance, but the city solicitor deemed an ordinance unnecessary. Therefore, after review with the city solicitor, since the original program rules were sent to the council for approval, and since the program rules have been maintained by the COA and mayor, the mayor of Attleboro, with the consent of the Attleboro Municipal Council, hereby establishes a senior tax abatement program, hereinafter referred to as the program. The purpose of the program is to allow homeowners who reside in Attleboro and are at least 60 years of age to work for the city in exchange for property tax abatement. This program is being established pursuant to Mass General Laws C-59, Section 5K, which was accepted by the City of Attleboro by a vote of the Municipal Council on June 20th, 2000. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to adopt the following language in Section 2 of the Senior Tax Abatement Program. Amount of abatement. A person who participates in the Senior Tax Abatement Program will be entitled to a maximum tax abatement of $1,000 in exchange for hours worked for the city. The maximum number of hours will be determined based upon the Massachusetts minimum wage rate. The amount of the abatement shall be reduced ratably for a participant who performs less than the maximum hours of work in the program.
Senior Tax Abatement Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from APS Director of Finance, Mark Furtado, regarding a lease for 13 copiers to be deployed throughout the Attleboro School District. In accordance to Section 5-8, Lease Purchase Agreement of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve a 42-month lease agreement with Conica Minolta, copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims?
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Planning and Development, Gary Arasian, regarding a lease and service agreement for a Toshiba 2520 AC photocopier for the Community Development Office. In accordance to Section 5-8, Lease Purchase Agreement of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve a 36-month lease and service agreement between the City of Attleboro and Axion Business Technologies. The lease and service agreement will be funded in full by Community Development Block Grant, copies in your packets.
City Property and Claims?
I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould requesting the need to fund the Assistant City Auditor position due to a planned change in employment status of a member of the staff to take effect in June of 2023. The change in staffing expected in June of 2023, additional requirements of this office, and vacancies in key personnel in the city have led the city auditor to conclude the most appropriate course of action is to fill the Assistant City Auditor's position and request funding. In fiscal year 24, a .572 FTE, 20 hours per week, for the existing accounting supervisor 2, with a 24-month transition plan and a goal of accomplishing a number of important tasks within the office and city will be included in the budget. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $18,573.62 from account 11241000-578300 citywide reserve fund transfer to account 1135100-511000 accounting, salary, and wage full-time to begin the hiring process of an assistant city auditor in fiscal year 23. Copies in your packets.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services?
Thank you. Sincerely, James J. Delicio, Acting Mayor.
Thank you. And then we continue with the clerk's communication?
Clerk's communication, Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. We have received a letter from the Planning Board that the Planning Board voted unanimously in the affirmative, 6 yeas, 0 nays, 0 absent, to recommend to the Municipal Council that the loan order in the amount of $475,000 for the cost of purchasing and equipping an ambulance is consistent with Section 6I, Public Safety, Goal 15, Policy 1, and Section 6J, Municipal Facilities, Goal 16 of the city's comprehensive plan.
Public Safety Committee?
We have received a letter from Steve Duplessis, 47 Patterson Street, in opposition to the proposed changes to the marijuana ordinance.
Ordinances, elections, and legislative matters.
We have received a notice that a virtual community outreach meeting for Canna Farm LLC is scheduled for February 23rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. online. The proposed marijuana cultivator and product manufacturer establishment is anticipated to be at 1 Turner Street, Attleboro, Mass.
FYI.
And that concludes communications.
Outstanding. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Would any councilors like to take a brief recess before we move on to committee reports? No? Okay. All right, and we will start reports with Councilor Waterman for the licensing committee.
All right. So from the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I would move to approve the Class 2 license application from Tyson Auto, Inc., 833 Washington Street, with 10 customer parking spaces, 55 display spaces, and 48 storage spaces.
Second.
Motion's in order. Councilor Waterman?
Well, we've all, I presume all of us, had a chance to listen to the owners at the public hearing in January. These owners have done a really good job of setting up, and they're all set to go, and everything is in order. So I highly recommend passing this motion.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
And that concludes the business of the License Committee. I'll call for a meeting at the next appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan?
Reporting for Public Works Committee from the docket of February 7th, 2023. I move to appropriate $49,000 from account Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to Fund 3339 PFAS for design for temporary PFAS treatment at the Wading River plant.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Holmes. Motion's in order. Councilor Dolan?
I know it was 2 weeks ago, but if everybody remembers, this is for the Wading River and all the PFAS that we have to deal with in building, constructing the building and so forth, and the requirements from Mansfield. If everybody recalls, I know it was 2 weeks ago, but that's what this is for.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just that it's long overdue over there to straighten that plan out. It's antiquated.
Perfect. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of December 20th, 2022, I move to approve the following loan order for a new front-end loader for the Water Department. Ordered that $355,000 to be appropriated for the cost of purchasing and equipping a front-end loader that, to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $355,000 under Section 7.1 of Chapter 44 of the General Laws or any other enabling authority, and the mayor is authorized to take any other action necessary to carry out this project.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Holmes. Motion's in order. Councilor Dolan?
We talked about this extensively. This is the 40-year-old loader that we had all discussed.
Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote and starts with Councilor DeSimone.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
And that's all the business for the Public Works Committee, and we look forward to a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
And in order to stay in order, Councilor Reynolds, can you report to the Finance Committee?
Sure. Reporting for the Finance Committee, in lieu of Richard Conti not being here tonight, I move from the docket of February 7th, 2023. I move to approve that the balance of $4,554 in Fund 232, let me start that over. From the docket of February 7th, 2023, I move to approve that the balance of $4,554 in Fund 3231, anoxic mixture, be closed to the Wastewater Enterprise Fund 6,000.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Counselor Reynolds?
Again, Councilor Conti spoke about all of these at the last several meetings that we had. I don't believe anyone has any questions, but if you do, please let me know.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of February 7th, 2023, I move to approve that the balance of $10,780 in Fund 3313 Water Skater Project be closed to the Water Enterprise Fund 6100.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Counselor Reynolds?
Again, I have no questions myself. Richard spoke at length about all of these that I'm bringing out this evening for him, but if there are any questions, please let me know.
Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor DeSimone.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of February 7th, 2023, I move to transfer $515.04 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1124100-578020 Citywide bills from previous years in order to pay the fiscal year 22 invoices to Constellation New Energy.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Counselor Reynolds, any comments?
No, I have none.
All right, this also requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I move to accept MGL Chapter 40, Section 13D, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 13D, which became effective July 3rd, 2012, provides for any city, town, or school district to adopt the section and establish a reverse fund for the future payment of accrued liabilities for compensated absences.
Second.
Motion's in order. Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Counselor Reynolds, any comments?
Same as before, I have none, but I think Richard spoke at length about this as well.
Any other comments?
I have one.
Counselor Dolan?
Just that we probably wish we had established this before we just got that new business down. But it'll be good. I think it's something we need. I don't think it'll be as painful if we can establish an account for this very purpose. And that's all. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor DeSimone.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I move to appropriate $500,000 from general fund undesignated fund balance 1000-359000 to fund 2517 reserved for compensated absence to fund the general government share of compensated absence liabilities and to further appropriate $16,790 from wastewater enterprise fund retained earnings account 6000-359 000 to fund 2517, reserved for compensated absence to fund the wastewater enterprise fund share of compensated absence liabilities, and to further appropriate $13,260 from 6100-359 Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to fund 2517, reserved for compensated absence, to fund the Water Enterprise Fund share of compensated absences. I hope you are all following this. The General Fund, Water Enterprise Fund, and Wastewater Enterprise Fund will be accounted for separately within Fund 2517, Reserve Fund for Compensated Absences.
Second.
It's a
Motion
lot
to order. Thank
saying
you,
all of the
Counselor
same.
Holmes.
Yeah, it says a lot, but it's basically, putting the fund together so that we won't end up with all these compensated monies that are running around amiss, crazily.
Yeah, that was a crazy motion.
It was, yeah, okay.
Any comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett? Yes. Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
And that is all the business the Finance Committee has this evening, but we would like to have a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you, Counselor Reynolds. And Counselor Bennett.
Reporting for transportation and traffic, we have no business for the full committee this evening, but look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. And Counselor Blair.
Reporting for public safety and emergency management, excuse me. I have one motion this evening. I move to approve the expending funds in any future grant amendments regarding the receipt of the Bulletproof Vest Partnership Program from the Massachusetts EOPSS. There is no match required by the city.
Second.
I think I
Thank you,
explained.
Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Counselor Blair.
I think I explained it properly. This is a vest that goes under their shirt. It's not the shield or the heavy vest. And we've had it, we get it every year from these people. And we purchase the vests for our police officers. And then we bill it with a handling person. There is no match, there's no money comes out of this city. Half is paid by the federal government, half is paid by the state.
Perfect. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor DeSimone.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays. Sorry.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I have no other business this evening. We'll request a committee meeting next week at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Counselor Blair. Counselor Holmes.
Thank you. Reporting for IT and Infrastructure Committee from the docket of February 7th, 2023. I move to approve a lease agreement executed by and between the City of Attleboro and Crown Castle for rental of a site located on O'Donnell Drive for the purpose of wireless communication devices as described herein.
Second?
Motion's in order. Thank you, Counselor Angelo. Counselor Holmes.
Thank you. So we've all received the lease agreement, and it's for $30,000 a year that the city will be paid to use this site. So it seems like it would benefit us.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds? Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business for IT and infrastructure, and we'll have a committee meeting next week.
And Counselor Holmes for zoning and land use.
Thank you. Reporting for Zoning and Land Use Committee from the docket of January 3rd, 2023. I move to accept the easement as shown on the plan entitled Easement Plan 317 Bishop Street, Assessors Map 121, Lot 23, Lot 1, Attleboro, Massachusetts, dated October 26, 2022, prepared by Brian J. Murphy, PLS, to maintain a rounding curve at the intersection of Bishop Street and Pike Ave.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Dolan. Motion's in order. Counselor Holmes.
We received the backup information regarding this and reviewed it in committee earlier.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor DeSimone.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I move to accept this easement as shown on plan entitled Easement Plan of Land for the City of Attleboro, Reed Street, Attleboro, Mass. 536 Reed Street, Assessors Map 76, Lot 474C dated October 3rd, 2022, prepared by E. Otis Dryer, RPLS, for construction and public use of sidewalk on the property of Henry and Sharon Perry.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Dolan. Motion's in order. Counselor Holmes?
We reviewed this in committee.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you. This is the last motion this evening. From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I move to appropriate $5,000 from account undesignated fund balance free cash general government to fund Reed Street sidewalk taking easement.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Dolan. Motion's in order. Counselor Holmes?
Thank you. So this was, the residents were, we created a deal with them to, and they were allowing us to create a sidewalk and an easement on their property. I did send out an email about a little bit of asking for clarification on what our policy was, and just hoping the next administration has a little bit more clarity on that. That concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor DeSimone.
Ms. DeSimone?
No, yes. Sorry.
Ms. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Were you saying no to the next administration?
Sorry, I was just, I just went away for a second.
Okay, so that concludes the business for zoning and land use, and call for committee meeting next week. Thank you.
And Counselor Reynolds for city
Aye.
property and claims.
City Property and Claims has no business this evening.
Thank you. Counselor
But we
Angelo.
will call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Counselor Angelo.
Reporting for Personal Veterans Human Service Committee from the docket of January 17th, 2023. I move to approve the appointment of Susan P. Williams, 19 Brookwood Road, Attleboro, to fill an expired term of the Council on Aging, term to expire February 2027.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Counselor Angelo.
Yeah, Susan was here. She had a lot of energy, a lot of great things that she's going to help with Council on Aging, and we'll be lucky to have her.
Perfect. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank
And that concludes a Personal Veterans Human Service Committee. Call for meeting at next appropriate time.
you. Thank you. And Counselor DeSimone.
Yes, thank you. Reporting for ordinances and legislative matters. We have a few items of business this evening, but I'm going to defer to the vice chair on the first item. Councilor Bennett?
Thank you. And please let the record know that Counselor DeSimone excused herself.
From the docket of February 7th, 2023, I move to approve the recommendation of Deputy Chief Timothy Cook of the Attleboro Police Department regarding the number of officers needed to staff polling places. The Election Commission referred this to be approved by the council.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Are there any comments?
No additional comments. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
One extension.
Motion passes. And then-
Moving right along. From the docket of December 6, 2022, I move to strike pending business related to item number 20 from the November 15th, 2022 communication, which read, Section 16-11.12, water rates, section, for each meter, there shall be a minimum charge of $25.30 for each 3 months. The minimum charge shall cover 500 cubic feet of water used at each connection, and excess over 500 cubic feet shall be charged at a rate of $5.51 per 100 cubic feet, effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Motion. Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Counselor DeSimone.
No further comment. We're just correcting an error.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of December 6, 2022, I move to add the following sections. Section 16-1112.12 water rates. For each meter set, there shall be a minimum charge of $27.55 for each 3 months. This minimum charge shall cover 500 cubic feet of water used at each connection, and excess over 500 cubic feet shall be charged at a rate of $5.51 per 100 cubic feet, effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Counselor DeSimone.
Simply to get the correct rate in the books.
Thank you. Counselor Holmes?
Sorry. So, because of the shift and because it was dated last summer, I guess I'm a little confused.
It was an error. There was an error when they sent it down. They hadn't accounted for the rate that was actually being, it's actually been charged and is being charged.
Okay.
So we're just catching up with reality.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? All right. Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor DeSimone.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yeah.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of December 6, 2022, I move that ordinance section 16-18 be removed in its entirety and replaced with the following. Section 16-18 sewer use rate. A charge is hereby established for the use of the city's sewer system. Such charge, except as otherwise provided in section 16-18.2 and 16-18.3 next below, shall be based on the amount of water supplied to any use of the city's water system as shown by the meter readings. The sewer use charge shall be for sewer users and based on 90% of the water used and shall be charged for at a rate of $10.20, $11.10 per 100 cubic feet for residential and industrial respectively, with a minimum charge for each 3 months of $45.90 for the first 450 cubic feet. The sewer rates established hereunder to be effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Counselor DeSimone.
I think this is a similar thing, just adjusting the rate to reflect reality. And for the record, if I may, Vice President Cobus, Councilor Conti's question the last time about a minimum charge for industrial, there is none, as pointed out by Councilor Blair. There is no minimum charge for industrial.
Perfect. Thank you, Counselor DeSimone. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Blair?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
9 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business of this committee for the evening. We look forward to a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. And we have one item from old business, and for that, I'll recognize Counselor Angelo.
I move to rescind vote number 14 of January 17th, 2023, certificate of vote as it was already voted on January 3rd, 2023, certificate of vote.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor Holmes. Motion's in order. Counselor Angelo.
Just correcting an error.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. That's it for old business, and for new business, we have 2 items, and for the first one, I'll recognize Counselor Bennett.
Thank you. I move to refer the following for study and recommendation: to evaluate the current layout, safety signage, and conditions of crosswalks on Oak Hill Ave near Hyman Fine School.
Second.
Thank you, Counselor DeSimone. Motion's in order. Counselor Bennett.
Thank you. So we got this. I received this from one of the school committee members, who received it from a couple of the parents of students in the school. It looks like, having taken a ride by there and getting some visuals, the crosswalks are in pretty rough shape, but also there's some concerns about a curve and speeds along that road. And that's one of the crosswalks that we don't currently have lighted signage and things like that. So I think a look at that, in particular that intersection by the school, and determining if there's a better way to lay that out might be appropriate.
Thank you, Counselor Bennett. Any other comments? Counselor Angelo?
A little history on that, because we had, Counselor Dolan would know about this. We had a sign in a crosswalk recently put up from the school to the Oak Hill Ave Park, because there was a girl and her dog had got hit by a car. And they were walking over near where the crosswalk was at that curve over the old red schoolhouse. traffic with Michael Tyler and Bobby Arugio determined that that was an unsafe spot to cross right there. So hence, and they make it ADA compliant, ADA and, yeah, ADA compliant. They had to move it over, and it was safer to be over at the mobile home park and in the school, to move it there with the flashing lights if someone wants to cross.
Thank you,
So just a little history.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilor Holmes?
Thank you. I think that this is great. I think we might want to consider doing this for all the schools, to be honest with you. Just look at existing comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes, and I will assign that to Traffic and Transportation.
Thank you, and I'd like to refer that to Traffic Study Commission.
Thank you. And the next item of new business, I'll recognize Councilor Diesel.
Thank you. We move the following for study and recommendation: that a senior citizen municipal parking fee waiver program be created by amending Section 10-7.2 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro as follows. Renumbering existing ordinance and adding subsection B, senior citizen municipal parking fee waiver. 1, parking in the North Main Street parking lot, Attleboro Library Lot, shall be free for senior citizens who procure a sticker from the Attleboro Council on Aging and display same on their motor vehicle, provided, however, that the time restriction at the particular metered location shall be obeyed. 2, to be eligible to participate in the program, the individual must be at least 65 years old and a current resident of the City of Attleboro. Each person so eligible shall each be entitled to one such sticker for motor vehicles registered to them with an Attleboro address. A sticker may also be issued for an automobile owned by an eligible spouse. 3, parking stickers may be placed on passenger vehicles only. No other class of motor vehicle is eligible. 4, this section shall not take effect until July 1st, 2023. And if I may defer for further comment to Council Waterman.
Second.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Holmes and Councilor DeSimone.
Thank you. May I defer to Council Waterman for comment?
Of course, yes.
Yes. This began, I would say a month and a half ago, when a conversation that I had with Amy, our library director, and she really is all for the idea of seniors being able to park free. And we're talking during the normal hours when we're all, anybody that goes over there has to pay, was it up to 75 cents now, I think? And she brought that to the Library Board of Trustees, and they were 100% in back of the idea of free parking for seniors. And this is with full knowledge that there is a spot in the back where you can park for 3 hours. But I was informed by the staff over there and by Amy that a lot of seniors are very loath, kind of not comfortable with parking back against that wall. And and we walked through the whole lot, and she feels that most of the time there are a few spots open, and that this will work out fine. So,
any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes, and I'll assign that to ordinances, elections, and legislative matters.
Thank you.
That's it. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:42.